Have you ever stopped to wonder why you feel so drained, so invisible? Even though you give so much, you're the one who always picks up the phone. Even when you're exhausted, you're the one who says yes. When your whole body wants to say no, you're the one who drops your own needs to hold everyone else together. And yet, you're the one who lies awake at night, wondering why you feel so alone. It hurts, doesn't it, to be so needed, and yet so unseen. There's a quiet ache that comes from being the available one. It's the kind of pain that doesn't scream. It whispers. You don't matter as much as they do. You think you're kind, selfless, good, and maybe you are. Your heart is beautiful, but underneath that kindness, there's something else. A fear that if you stop being available, you'll stop being loved. Jung once wrote, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls." When you're always available, you're not just avoiding conflict, you're avoiding your own truth. Because your truth is this: every time you say yes, when you mean no, you abandon yourself. Every time you silence your needs to please someone else, you teach yourself that your voice doesn't matter. Every time you rescue, fix, give, overextend, you drain your own life force, drop by drop. And do they even notice? Do they ever wonder if you're okay? Do they offer you the same presents you offer them? Often, they don't. Not because they're cruel, but because you trained them not to. You became so reliable, so strong, so endlessly giving, that they never had to wonder about your breaking point. You never let them see it. And maybe, because deep down, you carry an old story. If I'm not needed, I'll be abandoned. If I say no, they'll find someone else. If I rest, I'm selfish. If I speak up, I'm ungrateful. This is not kindness. This is survival. It's a pattern that probably started long before you were an adult. Somewhere, a younger version of you learned that being good and useful was the safest way to be loved. Maybe it was a mother who only smiled when you performed, a father who only praised you when you were obedient, a family that taught you to put others first, no matter the cost. And you, beautiful soul, learned to become the fixer, the caretaker, the one who holds it all, even when no one holds you. But here's what Jung would want you to know. What you ignore in your shadow will rule your life. Your fear of not being loved, that fear lives in your shadow. Your guilt for setting boundaries, that guilt lives there too. And every time you betray your own needs to keep someone else comfortable, you feed that shadow. You don't grow, you shrink. And here's the cruel irony. The more available you are, the less they value you. Why? Because what's always there is taken for granted. It's human nature. The friend who drops everything. They become the friend you call last minute, because you know they'll say yes. The partner who never complains. They become the one you stop appreciating, because you know they won't leave. When you don't have boundaries, you don't have respect. Not from them, and not from yourself. I know this is hard to hear. I know a part of you wants to close this video right now and say, but I can't just stop caring. No, you can't. Because your heart is big. But you can learn to care for yourself first. You can learn to be as loyal to your own soul as you are to everyone else's comfort. That is what Jung believed makes you whole. It's not about cutting everyone off. It's not about building walls. It's about building a door. One you get to open or close. One you guard with discernment. One that reminds you, I am not here to be endlessly available. I am here to be whole. If you feel this in your bones, if you know you've been betraying yourself in the name of love, stick with me. In the next part, we'll explore where this pattern really comes from, why it's so hard to say no, and how you can start untangling this old story without becoming someone you're not. Because you don't need to become cold. You just need to become clear. Where did you learn to betray yourself? Maybe no one ever asked you this question before. Where did you learn to betray yourself? Because it doesn't just happen. This need to be endlessly available. This guilt every time you think of saying no. This ache when you even imagine choosing yourself first. None of that was born in you. It was taught. You might remember a childhood where you felt safe, loved, and free to be fully yourself. But if you're honest, maybe you remember something else. A home where love felt conditional, where silence was safer than truth, where your needs were too much for the people who should have met them. Or maybe where you were the strong one, the responsible one, the caretaker for everyone's chaos. Jung knew that when we are children, we are wide open. We absorb everything. Not just words, but energy, glances, silences. We learn who we must become to keep love within reach. If your mother was absent, cold, or always needed you to be good. You learn that love is earned through service. If your father was unpredictable, warm one moment, distant the next, you learned to read the room, adjust your tone, become whatever they needed. It didn't matter how much it cost you. The only thing that mattered was not being left. This is not your fault, but it became your blueprint. You carried that blueprint into your friendships, your relationships, your career. You kept becoming the helper, the fixer, the one who answers the phone at 3 a.m. And you got praise for it, didn't you? People admire the reliable one, the strong one, the one who's always there. But here's what no one sees. What looks like strength is often just fear in disguise. Fear of disappointing, fear of rejection, fear of being alone with yourself. You see, Jung would say, this is the work of the shadow. All those parts of you that you had to bury, your anger, your no, your selfishness, your desires, they didn't vanish. They became the parts of you you're most afraid to show. So you keep playing the role you learned as a child. Be easy. Be available. Be good. Don't make waves. And as long as you play that role, people will keep taking. Not because they're evil, but because you've shown them you have no door. Just an open gate. The more they take, the more resentful you feel. But instead of saying something, you swallow it. You tell yourself, I shouldn't feel this way. I should be grateful. And the cycle repeats. You give, they take. You grow empty. And still, you keep giving. Until one day, your body says no, for you. You burn out. You get sick. Your nervous system starts to panic at the smallest request. Your mind is foggy. Your sleep is restless. This is your soul saying, enough. Your soul is tired of living on leftovers. Your soul wants you to understand this. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are doors to let the right people in. It's okay to rest. It's okay to disappoint them to be true to you. But to build a door, you must first admit that you don't have one. You must admit that the version of you who says yes to everything is secretly screaming for someone to say, it's okay to stop now. Can you hear that voice? The tiny whisper inside that says, please, choose me this time. That voice is your inner child. The one who learned to overgive. That child still believes that if they stop being useful, they will stop being loved. And that is the lie that keeps you trapped. Jung teaches us that when we bring the shadow to light, it loses its power. When you see your people-pleasing for what it is, fear, not virtue, you can begin to untangle it. You start to ask different questions. Who taught me to betray myself? Who benefits from my silence? What do I gain by always being available? What am I afraid will happen if I finally say no? These are not easy questions. They will stir the grief you've hidden for years. They will show you how much you've given, how little you've received in return. They will force you to sit with the loneliness you've been running from. But they will also show you this. Your needs are not a burden. Your voice is not a threat. Your limits are not unloving. They are holy. In the next part, we explore what it actually looks like to build those boundaries. Not as walls of anger, but as doors of love. Because you don't have to become cold. You don't have to stop caring. You just have to stop abandoning yourself. If this is waking something up inside you, tell me in the comments. I hear my inner child. Stay with me. This is how you begin to come home to yourself. So here you are, finally starting to see it. The pattern, the root, the lie you've carried for so long. If I'm not always available, I'm not worthy of love. But once you see the lie, what do you do with it? Because knowing is not enough. You can't just read about boundaries in a book and expect your heart to obey. Your nervous system still flinches every time you imagine disappointing someone. Your body still tenses up at the thought of conflict. Your mind still whispers, they'll leave you if you say no. So you need to start gently, lovingly, bravely. Carl Jung taught that transformation begins with awareness, but becomes real through integration. Living what you know. So let's make it real. 1. Start with the smallest, no. If the thought of setting a huge boundary terrifies you, don't start there, start small. Say no to a text you don't want to answer right now. Say no to staying late when you're already exhausted. Say no to a phone call that drains you. Watch what happens. Notice the anxiety that rises in your chest. Notice the stories your mind spins. They'll hate me. They'll never ask again. Sit with that discomfort. Don't run from it. And then watch how, most of the time, nothing bad happens. The world doesn't end. They survive your no. And you realize you can survive it too. 2. Listen to the guilt. but don't obey it, guilt will come. You've trained your mind for years to equate self-care with selfishness. It will feel wrong at first, because new freedom always does. When guilt shows up, talk to it like a scared child. I see you. I know you're trying to keep me safe, but I'm allowed to choose myself now. You don't have to kill the guilt. You just have to stop letting it drive. 3. Remember, boundaries are an act of love. They're not punishment, not rejection. They're honesty, they say. I value our connection enough to be real. When you have no boundaries, resentment grows like a weed. You give, and secretly hate them for taking. Is that love, or is that a slow poison? Boundaries let you love cleanly, freely, with an open heart, because you know you are safe with yourself. For honor the part of you that's still scared, you don't have to bulldoze your fear. Talk to it. You can say, I know you're afraid we'll be alone if we stop being the helper, but the truth is, real love won't disappear just because we stop bleeding for everyone else. That's what Jung meant by individuation. Becoming whole, bringing your hidden parts into the light, loving even the part of you that wants to keep old patterns alive. 5. Practice. Over and over, one no won't fix decades of self-abandonment. One boundary won't heal a lifetime of being the caretaker. This is a practice, and you'll mess up. You'll overgive again. You'll catch yourself shrinking. You'll feel the old guilt sneak back in. That doesn't mean you failed. It means you're learning. Healing is not about perfection. It's about choosing yourself again and again. Even when it feels awkward, clumsy, terrifying, the reward, you come back to yourself as you practice. Something beautiful happens. People who only wanted you for what you gave will fade. People who love the real you will stay. You'll find you have more energy, more peace. You'll stop feeling so resentful. You'll stop burning out for people who never notice your flame. You'll realize being less available doesn't make you less loving. It makes you more honest, more whole, more free. This is individuation in action. Your return to yourself. If this is resonating with you, type I choose myself in the comments. Let the old pattern hear you. Stay with me. In part 4, we'll close this journey with the most important truth. When you stop being always available, you discover the life you were meant to live. You finally belong to you. When you finally choose yourself, everything changes. So what happens? When you stop being the one who's always available? At first, it's terrifying. You feel selfish, guilty, exposed, like you're doing something wrong just by taking care of yourself. You expect backlash, you expect rejection. Maybe you even get it. But then, something shifts. You feel a silence that used to scare you, and now it feels like peace. You realize not everyone deserves your energy. Not everyone earns your effort. And you were never meant to carry what they refuse to hold for themselves. You stop answering every call. You stop over-explaining your boundaries. You stop saying yes when your heart says no. And slowly, you return to yourself. You become someone new. And still you, not hard, not cold, not selfish, but grounded, clear, true. The kind of person who knows their limits, who honors their needs, who loves without losing themselves. You laugh more because you're no longer carrying resentment. You rest deeper because you no longer feel the need to earn rest. You love better because you're no longer giving from depletion. This is the life you were meant to live. And it only becomes possible the moment you say, I matter too, not more than them, not instead of them, but enough to stop betraying yourself. You'll lose some people, but you'll find yourself not everyone will like the new you, the one who sets boundaries, the one who doesn't always say yes, the one who pauses before giving and asks, is this love or is this guilt? Some people will leave. Let them. You're not here to live a life of silent suffering just to be liked. You are here to live a life of truth, even if it means walking alone for a while. But trust this, you won't stay alone. Because as you become more real, you'll attract people who want the real you. People who don't need you to shrink, to rescue, to perform. People who meet you where you are. And even if it's fewer people, it's deeper love. You represent the inner child who was taught to overgive at the heart of this journey. There's a child, a little version of you, who once learned that being lovable meant being useful. That good meant quiet, helpful, available. That love was something to earn. That child never wanted to say yes all the time. They were just scared of being left. And now, you get to tell them the truth. You don't have to earn love anymore. I won't abandon you again. I'm here now, and I choose you. That's what healing is. Not perfection, not becoming untouchable, but becoming the adult your younger self always needed. This is individuation. This is what Jung meant. To become whole, you must bring back all the pieces you gave away, the pieces you traded for approval, the parts you hid to feel safe, the voice you silenced to be liked. When you stop being available to the world at all costs, you finally become available to your soul, and everything changes. Your choices, your energy, your voice, your peace. You come back home to yourself, and from that place, you live. Not from guilt, not from fear, but from truth. If this journey moved something inside you, don't let it stop here. Comment below. I'm ready to come home to myself. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it today. Subscribe for more content like this. For the parts of you that are tired of performing and finally ready to heal. And let me ask you one thing. Have you ever realized how many times you said yes, just because you were afraid of what would happen if you said no?